time. All right, welcome everybody. Exciting show today. For those that are new, my name is Robert O'Keefe. I am the creator and founder of Over 55 NJ. Let me just make sure we're live and everything looks good here. So, for those that are new, every Thursday we do a live webinar, and the webinar covers all different types of topics regarding 55 plus communities, downsizing, right sizing, pretty much a lot of the questions we get from the community and a lot of issues we see when people reach out to us. So we generally kind of like take the pool of questions we get from interacting and having hundreds of conversations. I'm not even joking with people downsizing and kind of in the similar boat that you are. So it's a very interesting and frankly a rewarding niche for us because we get to build the relationships over time and help people with this problem because sometimes it can be very daunting when it comes to moving to a new place. So today we're going to talk about just kind of what to expect when it comes to moving to a 55 plus community. We'll see who's online here. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can answer them. So, one of the best things and ways to get started is to go to our website at over55nj.com. And this way you can start searching for homes, start getting some ideas, and start really getting kind of a feel for where these communities are. One of the most common questions we get is where are these communities? Where are they located? Well, we cover all over New Jersey, and pretty much we could show you the entire inventory. New Jersey is what's called a broker cooperating state. So we have access to the entire inventory. The best way is to go by location and then specifications. So we can really start to put together a detailed list for you based on your criteria, based on where you want to live. That's what's kind of fun about this is just everyone has different preferences and different areas they want to be in. So reach out to us anytime. You can send us an email to at over55nj@gmail.com or send us a direct message. If you're not a member of our Facebook group yet, go to over55nj.group. This will take you directly to our Facebook group. So thanks so much for hopping on today. Today's topic is going to be what to expect when moving to a 55 plus community or a retirement community in general. So I'm going to break this down in two ways. One, I'm just going to give you the practical semantics of what to expect starting from the closing date. And then we're going to give you some tips on how to start thriving and start adjusting. Now, you wouldn't believe it, but there's not a lot of things, not a lot of places that will teach you this online. So we know this from experience working with our customers and just being in the business. So we can give you a good idea of what to expect if you should decide to go this route. So starting from closing, you can expect to pay what's called an HOA contribution fee. So the way to think about an HOA is run like a small business. A small business needs income coming in to pay for their expenses going out. So a lot of times there's what's called a HOA contribution fee, most comically known as the welcome to the neighborhood fee. This could be anywhere from 2 to 3 months of an HOA contribution. It could be a set amount, but you should plan on budgeting for this when it comes to closing on your unit. Now, some people scoff at this, but back to the first principle that every HOA is a small business, this is a great way for HOA fees to make money in order to keep their HOA monthly fees low. So by collecting this money up front, what it's doing is allowing to keep the HOA fees as low as possible in the community. And you're going to see, compared to other condos, compared to other areas in New Jersey, the HOA fees in a lot of these 55 plus communities tend to be very reasonable. Now, they're kind of like a necessary evil. I was talking to a customer today that didn't want to pay an HOA fee. And what I advised her is we don't have to put you in a 55 plus community. We can look at different single family options. We can look at other condo communities. But the HOA fee is kind of required just to undergo the maintenance, undergo certain things within the community, stuff you would have to do on your own in a single family house anyway. And what we say for it to people is you kind of get used to paying the HOA fee. When I was in a condo and the condos we have now, we just set it to come out of our bank account every month where we're just pretty much not even cognizant of it. But the way to think about it is look at the HOA fee holistically and compare it to the lower taxes you'll be paying compared to what you pay now. So look at the monthly fee as a holistic basis and try not to focus too much on that. Now, we don't want to tell you what to do. We're not here to convince you to go either way. If you want to go to a single family, that's more than fine. We can work on some solutions with that. But that's just kind of like a different way to think about it, just to get a different perspective there. So, starting with that, just to recap, that is the HOA fee up front. Now, the second thing to think about is once you close, is what's typically happens is there's an orientation. So the communities tend to be very welcoming. Usually the orientation is done at the clubhouse. You'll get a pamphlet of all the activities and all the great things going on. It's very well run in many cases. We can help guide you and move you to the right communities based on your interests. We have a lot of clients that love golf, for instance. So there's a lot of golf-centric communities in New Jersey that focuses around golf and the clubhouse and the culture that golf has. But there's always usually what's called an orientation where you can meet other people. You can meet other people that have just moved into the community that are in the same boat as you. And you can get an idea of all the clubs that you're looking for. So that's usually one of the things to expect there. And keep in mind, every community is different. Basically, you just want to stay abreast of everything going on. There's also meetings to attend, completely optional. We speak to people that just don't want any part of the meetings and don't want to be involved at all. But there are meetings where you could just go and kind of like get some ideas of what's going on, what's coming on in the community, and everything of that nature. So those are some of the kind of like the semantics to expect, kind of like the boring things, if you will. We're going to go into now the three topics we have on how to adjust personally. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat here. Let's go through the top three things to expect during your first year. Number one, it takes time to feel at home. It doesn't always feel like home immediately, even if you love the house. So you feel like you spent years, probably even decades, living in your previous house. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get adjusted, particularly to community living. A lot of our clients move from single family houses. Some of them move into a condo setting. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But what we say is try to embrace it. Try to remember the positives. Try to remember the less maintenance you have to do. Some people absolutely love it and it just no problem. For some others, it takes a little bit of time. But just understanding that there's going to be a little bit of adjustment is going to be key just to kind of gain a baseline of how you're going to feel. So we always say that there's a saying that you always got to know yourself. You're going to know yourself better than I could ever know you. And you're going to kind of understand what you're going to like and what you're not going to like about the move. So just have a good understanding of yourself and what you're going to feel there. And then you'll start to really start being prepared once you start to make that move. So remember, it's always going to be an adjustment and it's completely normal where it takes a little bit of time to adjust to the home. We always say too, no matter what type of real estate we work in, that no piece of real estate is perfect. We speak to people that have houses worth probably like $3 million, and some people have complaints. Speaking to one person, she said, "We have so many stairs in the house." So no matter what the house is, and no matter what the property is, I could give you a list of complaints. I love my house, but of course, I can give you a list of complaints about my house. So no piece of real estate is perfect. And just because you moved in, it's just going to take a little bit of time to adjust to that. So always have like an understanding of that. And that will go a long way in your mindset. One of our tips is give yourself permission to adjust. Don't judge the experience based on the first few weeks. And that couldn't be more true. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We have our contact links below and at the end. If you want to jump off the live webinar, this webinar will be recorded too. And if you want us to send you the notes, feel free to send a direct message. We'll give you the notes and kind of the cheat sheets for this too. Number 2, community involvement makes a big difference. So we talked about the orientation. Try to make an effort to meet the neighbors if you're open to it. I was speaking to someone today I've been following up with for a long time, and he had no interest. And that goes back to knowing yourself and what you like. If you like to meet neighbors, a lot of people would be glad to meet you as well. Believe it or not, sometimes it just takes one person to break the ice. Attend community events. You're going to go and get a list of all the events at orientation. So that's very exciting. Exploring activities. Go with what you're interested in. Don't try to force it. There's all different types of clubs. There's a stitching club, knitting club in one of the communities we work in. There's yoga. There's all different sorts of things. And it depends on the community, what type of activities they have, but go with your interests and start to get involved from there. A tip is try to at least 3 activities or events during your first few months before deciding what fits your interests. I remember my grandmother always told me that don't be afraid to try something. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. So you may find something that you really like and you may be really into it. I know my wife started needle pointing and she absolutely loves it and is pretty much addicted to it now. So you just never know. You could try something new and maybe try something you've always wanted to try. This is a good opportunity to do that. Now, the last tip we're going to give you is your lifestyle often becomes simpler and more flexible. So I had a great conversation with a customer today, and he basically did the math. And he said from downsizing, currently costs about $4,000 to run his house with the mortgage, the insurance. That's not even counting the utilities and the maintenance. And he kind of did the math in his head. By downsizing, he's probably going to save about $2,000 a month out of pocket. And that's amazing. He said, well, I could travel now. I could do all these sorts of things. And just to have $2,000 back every month is going to be huge for him. So your lifestyle often becomes more flexible and simpler from that standpoint. And it's not just about the money. It's about the simplicity. It's about not doing maintenance, not having to shovel snow anymore. We speak to people too. We place people that go to Florida for the winter and they say, all you have to do is just shut your door and it's done. Before I had a house where I had to arrange the snowfall, I had to get people to check on the pipings and things of that nature. But here I just shut the door. I'm in a condo now and I just shut the door. Then I just jump on the plane and head out. So you'll be surprised how mentally freeing that is in a lot of cases and how much simpler your life becomes just by doing this. There's no more yard work. I mean, I personally like yard work, but some people do not. Imagine it gets more challenging as you get older. Repairs, household responsibilities, and just more time to focus on what you want to do in your retirement. The tip is to focus on how you want to spend your time and not just where you live. So it could be a lot of things, and it could be a little bit daunting. But if you focus on these 3 things, you'll be surprised on how well you start to adapt. There's a term in psychology called hedonic adaptation. And what that means is like once you start to move into a new place, the brain starts to adapt and it starts to normalize your surroundings. So think about when you go to a new place, your brain is kind of on alert. But if you're spending time in the place, even if it's just a couple weeks, your brain starts to habitualize. It starts to go down to a baseline. And we see it all the time where people move into their new house and they're shocked. They say, hey, it feels like forever ago where I used to live in my old house and it's a distant memory. And this is my environment now. And this is where I live. This is my home. So even if you've been in your home 10, 20, 30 years, you'll be surprised at how well your body and your brain will adapt. And kind of like an interesting scientific principle for you today. There's a term for that, and it happens all the time. So while the first move may seem a little bit scary, just know it normalizes. And there's a lot of activities here. We're always here for you, just to make sure that the transition is going well. We make the transition easy from researching the communities with you, going through the locations, making sure we're matching you in the right place, in the right communities that you want to be in, and just start to make everything easy for you. So there's a lot of great things to talk about. If you want to reach out to us, we could discuss your individual situation. The person I was talking to today, we've probably been talking for about a year and a half now, and have great conversations, have really gotten a chance to know this person. We speak to a ton of people like that. That's one of the reasons why we set up our site. So you could start doing research in a no pressure way, use all our great technology, but still have a human being talking to you. That's kind of walking you through everything. So it's kind of the balance of both the new world and the old world, just playing this move for you and just being there for you every step of the way. So we always invite you to reach out, go to our site, over55nj.home, start doing a little research, send us an email at over55nj@gmail.com. If you want to schedule a time to speak, feel free to go to over55nj.chat, and you can get on our calendar too for a telephone conversation. But start small. Feel free to reach out, go on our website, start saving some searches, gain some ideas. If you're not part of the Facebook group yet, go to over55nj.group, and you can start networking with other individuals in our community as well as ourselves. So we'll see you on the next video. As always, we're very grateful for you and grateful that you watched today. If you have a topic that you want covered, feel free to reach out, send us an email. We have our contact links here, and we'll go from there. We'd love to cover it for you. So thanks so much again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.